As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
One more time, I'm gonna blast that.
What, I'm supposed to be scared now because you got a pistol, motherfucker?
Hey, that Jim Jack, come on. Shit, that's Kane and Harold, man.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Joe Chapo back in the building. Another edition of If They Only Knew. As always, we got your boy Main Light on the Hill. What's going on, man?
We want your story, man. You see it, man. We want your story. Stop playing.
Yeah, we advertising like, shameless plugs is out the window, yo. We just shameless.
Listen,
It's all good.
It is, man. You know what I mean? From the Mallahdivine Designs, we're gonna have a relaunch. So stay tuned.
Yeah. I can't wait to the relaunch. Like these new designs are crazy, yo. But anyway, as always, we got another special guest, another original. Nobody else. You've never seen anyone. Nah. But we got a special guest, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man. I appreciate you coming on, man.
This is no problem. I'm Mallahdivine. I'm an author, I'm a publisher, I'm a youth motivator, and I'm a social justice activist. As you see this is my latest book, Prison Survival, Hell's Prison. It's my memoir about my transformation. I did 19 and a half years in prison down in Virginia. This is my second book. My first book was is an urban political street thriller called The Hidden Hand Duality of Self. But I'm about to fold that for a minute because I'm re-editing and revising it to put some, put it back out there.
That's what's up, man. Again, like I said, I definitely appreciate you coming on. I mean, you didn't have to do this. I mean, I just reached out to you and you agreed, and I definitely appreciate that. There's a lot of people that, don't even take the time to look at the message. So again, I appreciate you taking your time out.
Everybody trying to come up. Everybody need to help everybody else, man. It ain't, it's nothing,
Exactly. That's definitely what we're about, man. Like we definitely try to pay it forward, try to help everybody out as much as possible, and keep this shit going. Like we definitely need to keep it going, man. But like I said, as always, everybody want to know. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you from, and how you came up.
I'm from Bushwick, from back in the days when it was a lot of stuff going on out here. When Bushwick, there was a lot of lots out here, looking like the South Bronx a little bit out here, a bit. So it was like one of the few areas in New York City that you can get heroin. This was before the crack era, Then when the crack hit, it just made the neighborhood worse. I grew up. I had two parents. I come from a good family. I just come from a fucked up neighborhood at that time. So, I came outside and, I had to negotiate, it was lions and it was lambs, and, I don't think I look good on somebody else's plate. So, so, that's like, and that's how I came, I went to school. Like I went to arguably the second best middle school, Philippa Scholar School for the Gifted and Talented, 383 in New York City. So I was like, I'm not a dumb individual. And, but sometimes you get caught up, sometimes you hold values that you think is the code of the streets, but you really see later on in life that those values don't hold no weight in that current. The values is good, but the current that you utilize them in, you're not going to, you'll survive, you'll be the last man standing, but you'll have a football number behind your name as well too.
Yeah, man. That old school, like these generations now, they have no idea what we had to go through coming up, man. Like we couldn't even walk down the block. Like we couldn't go too far from our neighborhood and shit, without going deep. Like we had to be like 6 deep just to leave the neighborhood. So they don't even know these millennials and Generation X. Yeah, they got it real good.
Because money was different then. Like everybody didn't have money. Like you know what I mean. So even when like everybody didn't have heroin, everybody didn't have crack. So and everybody didn't sell drugs. Just for the fact no matter. But people who didn't have money like that. So it's like you made do with what you had. Like even playing, like, one of the biggest things that I see different is that there's no children outside, like talk about it. Like I don't see nobody playing tag. I don't see nobody playing Coco-Levy or stick ball or, I don't see that no more, stoop ball. So and I'm like, damn, if this is where we at right now, it's like nobody is like really, where's the community at? Where's the community interaction? Because these the people that you actually, you build your bonds with, the people that you play with, the people that you running around with when you're younger. And I know everything has switched to so-called online as far as with the video games and stuff like that. And I'm not knocking, because I have 2 degrees too, and they both in technology. So it's like, so I understand that.
I hate to cut you off, but see, we was raised on it takes a village.
Yeah.
Oh, we was out, like we was never home. It's like until we had to go home, and as soon as we woke up, we left. Like I don't understand that sit in their room all day texting each other across the street, or downstairs or next door. Like it's crazy.
They don't know. Staying in the house was the punishment. You took the ass whooping over staying in the house because you had to get back outside. So
all the time. The time.
And it's like, I think that's why now you see probably the suicide rate amongst younger people so high, because they don't know how to defend themselves socially, like bullying. Like, what you mean somebody bullying you? You better know how to joke back. Like, what happened to that? I'm rubber, you glue, everything bounce off me and sticks on you. Like what happened to that? And it's sad because I'm like, you'll catch a story, a 12-year-old hung themselves or something like that because somebody was cyberbullying. Like it was one time, it was an older lady acting like she was a little girl, and she cyberbullied a little girl, and the little girl hung herself, right? So, which made me start looking at.
Was it a 10-year-old girl?
Something like that, 10 or 12, but it was a grown lady though. It was a grown lady that was cyberbullying her, acting like she was a kid. So
crazy, yeah.
The children, like, to me, they're not equipped. Like even the concept emotionally, like they break up with the girl, they want to kill everybody and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, man, like that's part of the growth. Matter of fact, that make you even more smoother for the next female down the line.
Yeah. I mean, there was guns in school all the time, and there was rarely any shootings.
I know, and one was on my waist.
Like we went to school and people brought guns to school. It wasn't like, oh my God, be in school. No. Like, oh, you got a gun, that's it.
And you can still get a fair one.
Yeah. And if a person got shot, it was that person got shot, not everybody around him. Like, I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it.
It's like to me, being a nigga, being a thug, being a bitch, all that shit is a fad right now. So it's like, I've never seen so many people try to be dumb or try to be less than great. Like, I've never seen that before. And it's like, when you like, I interact with youth, I work with youth too, right? You know what I mean? I work with youth professionally and non-professionally. So, and just like the mind state that just, like everybody wants to, it's like now, being a gang person is the new thing. Yeah. So, and it's like, I'm like, well, everybody can't be in a gang member, can they? They like, yeah, everybody can. Then when you see like the quality, because when you let everybody into your house, sooner or later your house is going to get filthy. So, so I do the knowledge. Like when I was like back in like 2015. I used to be an archer's mentor out in Queens for a program, and everybody in that program was on probation, so they already had one strike against them, and so we might probably like out of 40 kids, we might have lost 2, but the 2 we lost, I told them straight up, yo, y'all going to jail. You, because you love being a blood and you got charisma, and when I see you, don't see me, it's like 30 little dudes behind you. The other dude, I said, you going to jail because you chasing your father rep. And both of them went to jail. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm not the scared straight type of person. Like, I'm not, that shit don't work, and I don't, like, that's nothing, because it goes in one ear out the other. But if I can get you to actually look at, the values that you hold and see where they come from, then it's a chance that you might reevaluate them and ask yourself, is this productive? Yeah. And that's the way that I move, because I don't believe in saying don't carry a gun. Like I can't tell you in good faith, don't carry a gun. That's not me. What I will say is be aware why you carrying a gun. Do you need to carry a gun every day? Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I'm a proponent of the Second Amendment. They put it in there, right? Right to bear arms, right? So, you know, you got your right to bear arms, even though they got 60,000 laws to try to say you don't have the right. But hey, it is what it is.
You right about that, boy.
Yeah. So, and that's how you gotta look at, man. You know, what I learned is, man, like, I don't try to be like this generation or that generation. Yeah, you know, I think that skinny jeans stuff, some of that stuff, are kind of gay, but
Yeah,
it is what it is. So it's like, so I'm not, what I don't like, I just keep it to myself and I deal with you on what we got in common. And what we got in common is y'all can be my children. That's the greatest thing we have in common. And you know, and I really got genuine love for y'all. I want y'all to, I want to see y'all do good. I want to see y'all. Well, that's one of the reasons, like, the catalyst for writing that book right there, right? Because I wasn't going to write that book. I'm a creative writer, so like writing a straight up true story, you know what I mean? It took more out of me than I thought I had. What I mean in that is that once you come home, try to forget a lot of stuff that you've done in prison. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you see a lot of crazy stuff. And so when I was doing, I would think at the time, I played a part on the Closed Rikers Island campaign. I also helped organize a march called the Mills of Prison Human Rights March that took place in DC in 2017. So I said, yo, to myself, I said, son, you being a hypocrite because you don't never tell your story. Like, you know, so I said, you know what, let me tell my story, let me write my story, but let me show you how I transitioned, or because I don't believe in rehabilitation. I'm a black man, so my people came over here in slave ships. So what you want me to rehabilitate to a slave? Because the basis of the word re is back, habilitate, to restore. So what you want to restore me to a slave, right? So I can't buy into that concept. So I deal with the concept of transformation. Like, I tell people, two of the greatest tools that you can utilize is introspection and retrospection. You know what I mean? And that's when you really start understanding the depths of your own mind, and then you start to gain what is the true essence of knowledge itself. You know, and that's what I try to show through the book, my transformation process. So it's like it goes like in chronological order. Like, you know, I try to be as honest to the story without, you know, sometimes people write books and they put things that shouldn't be put in books. Yeah. And I try to make sure that ain't nobody getting indicted off this book right here. So,
facts.
So briefly tell us, you know, about the book and the reason, you know, how the story came about. I mean, let's just be honest.
I shared this. That's shared a little bit, but the book itself, it came about because, like I said, I needed to tell my story, you know, and it became a therapeutic process for me by telling my story, and it opened up more doors, and people take you more serious when they can actually know that you can write and you can put things in print. And I published the book myself too. Both my books, I published them myself as well. Which, you know, not even knowing what a Google and the internet was to where I'm at now, it's like, you know, it was a lot of work. And sometimes people don't understand that. They just want you to give them the jewel. And, you know, I don't mind sharing, but, you know, somewhere, you know, reciprocity got to be taking place somewhere as well too. So, but back to the book. So I wrote the book. It actually it came out on a day that I got off parole, which was August 31st, 2018. And so I made it, you know what I mean? So I made it that day, even though that they wound up telling me a week later I really wasn't off parole, which because I'm on Virginia parole, and it was handled by New York. I did an interstate compact. So New York automatically assumed in 3 years I was getting off parole, and they had that on my paperwork. So they took me off. I dropped that book, you know what I mean, like to celebrate, you know, I'm finally free, first time since 17, been on probation in New York, been to Rikers Island, you know, went down to Virginia, went to the prison on parole. So from 17 about what to 2019, I actually got off. So from 17 to maybe 44, I was under somebody's jurisdiction. And so that's like a real the catalyst of writing that book, and just knowing that younger people we owe just because I think it was around when Tupac died, we was on lock, and my man, his little brother, wrote me from the juvenile joint DFY upstate, and I was kind of like, I'm like, damn, they let it come all the way in here because they don't usually let you write from prison to prison. So and he was just telling me, how he looked up to me, how, I was like the street general out there and this and that. And that made me sad because here's a little dude that, I grew up with his family, his brother, like one of my best friends, you know what I mean? I've never put anything in his hand illegal. I can't say he never saw me do anything illegal because you don't know what people see, what you do when you do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I made sure he used to come from the middle school, I made sure, pull your pants up, go get a hero out the store, shit like that. So now here it is, somebody writing me, and I'm at the time 96, how old? 96, I think I'm 21. Like I'm fresh on my bed, like, and I got a long way to go. But that was the catalyst for me to realize, like, yo, son, people watch you, whether you realize or not, and you owe. See, and I felt like I owed, so that started me on a certain type of path. And I think that this book is the accumulation of that path that actually started in 96, recognizing that I owe.
So for the viewers that don't know, you did 19 and a half years.
Yes.
And that was in Virginia.
Yes.
Also, okay, so your story, your book, is it like the day-to-day of what you went through, doing the
because you can't remember the day-to-day, but it's like year to year.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, from prison. I think it's probably broken down from prison to prison.
Okay. So like the viewers, they like to hear the story behind what happened, and they also like to hear what was it like your first day fresh, coming onto the compound, or just going through the experience of lockdown.
So as far as like when I got locked up, see, when I came off of Rikers Island in '92, I still had credits to graduate school as a senior, even though I didn't do 6 months of my junior year. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna go get a GED when I can just go get a high school diploma. So with that, I got a high school diploma. I had a little bit of resources. I graduated. So I said, let me go to college. When I was coming up, I used to like Different World. That was like one of my favorite shows. So it took place in the HBCU, like a historical Black, college university. So I went down to Norfolk State University. But the thing is, I went down there with one of my co-defendants, that was my co-defendants in New York, and a few other dudes from Bushwick. So we didn't last but a semester down there. You know what I mean? Because even though you can change your environment, if you don't change your mind, you're going to do the same things that you would do in the environment, and you think it's all right. And like, I'm not oblivious, like, why, like, I was facing life in 28 years, you know what I mean? So I had a conspiracy to murder, first degree murder, malicious wounding, gun charges, like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm not gonna say
you say you're 17, right?
No, I was 20.
Was 20.
Yeah, 17 was my charge in New York. I caught an armed robbery charge in New York because, I'm from Brooklyn, so I thought I was a stick-up kid. So, so you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was like a thing at one point.
Yeah. So, but no, I caught the second charge when I was 19. I was on the run. They caught me at 20, and they extradited me down to Virginia, and they brought me to trial. And I blew trial. They gave me 55 years. It's crazy because when I blew trial, they started running off numbers. Like the first number they started was with 30. I'm like, then they just went. So I'm like, yo, tell these cats to run that shit, you know what I mean, concurrent. He was like, nah, we running that consecutively. I'm like, then he added it all up, said, yo, you got 55 years. I said, yo, who the fuck is going to do all that time, yo? He was like, you came off better than your co-defendant. I said, what the fuck? You must be crazy, yo. Like, you know what I mean? So I just seen that it was a different mentality, but I didn't know that. See, I'm thinking 55 to life is like New York 55 to life. I didn't know that Virginia 55 is with 55 with parole. So I didn't know I had parole to maybe 6 months later on when I went to the receiving center and all of that, and I got my update sheets, and I was like, oh, stuff, I go up for parole. So I was like, okay, it's light at the end of this tunnel. But that was another animal, because I went up for parole 11 times before they gave it to me. Oof. And then being a 5%, I don't think that helped. Once they start labeling us as a gang, we had to fight that, and they wound up winning that case in Virginia like 2 years ago. So but I wasn't in there when they was winning, so I got the worst of what was going on. And they put you in a database that you're a gang leader. I said, I know y'all don't know nothing about the 5%ers if you think I'm a leader, a gang leader on top of that. So but that's what it was, man.
Extra numbers.
Yeah, so and just doing that feeling, like my first day on the compound, like, to be realistic, so once you was on, I was in a 4 building at 17. So all that other stuff is nothing. Like, I'm not trying to minimize, so like,
once you're in a 4 building, you anywhere. Don't matter.
So when I first hit the compound, it's like, I'm looking, it was like, when we pulled up, the CO, he was like, you going to a good compound. I said, good compound. In my mind, I said, yo, these people is crazy, yo. I'm maximum security. What could be good about a maximum security prison, yo? So once I got there, it's regular. They you always go through the back. Every prison, you go through the back. You know what I mean? Until you free, then you walk out the front door. But so you go through the back, you go to laundry, you get your laundry, you get your bedroll, you get your assignment. And I was a non-smoker, so they couldn't. So sometimes that'll be a holdup, because they got to put you in they had to put you in a cell with a person that didn't smoke. So so once I got all that, once I went up to where I was at, it's just certain rules that I knew. Just like, you don't go into a cell if you don't know who your cell partner is. And I put my stuff down. I'm like, yo, who in this, cell? They was like, oh, he on the rec, y'all. You got a good dude. So I just waited in the park, you know what I mean, until the fella came back, and he was cool. He was cool. Then I moved my stuff up in there. But like 90 days later, it was a big escape attempt. All hell broke loose, and I'm thinking like this, but this is supposed to be, and this is a good spot. I'm like, shit, like, before the escape attempt, you had a dude, he had like 300 years or something. He supposed to been going back to court for whatever, but he stabbed another cat on a weight pal over a freak book. That dude, I guess he felt like dude tried to take his freak book.
Take his girl. He took his girl.
What I mean? So, and I couldn't understand, like, I'm young, I'm trying to process stuff. I couldn't understand it. I'm like, hold up. So he supposed to been going back to court, and he stabbed, almost killed this dude, just barely, because he hit him in the chest, so he was trying to kill him. So, because you don't hit nobody in the chest if you ain't trying to kill him. Chest, neck, all that, you trying to kill somebody. So, and when I heard, I said, over a freak book? Like, to me, I couldn't phantom that. So it's like, in my mind, I said, yo, I can't be myself in here. Yo, I have to like learn how to create masks, because this is an insane asylum. And as things progress, it got more and more insane asylum. Then you start seeing, because Virginia is in the South. It's not in the deep South, but it's in the South. And then when you learn the history of Virginia, like, I was on a compound at Nat Turner, Southampton County. They got a prison in Southampton County. So I was on a compound that Nat Turner was on that land somewhere when he was cutting all them people's heads off. So I was on that, you know, historical revolutionary ground. And so it's like, but it's just madness in there, man. And then people lose their faculties, man. Like, you know, and it's sad because everybody see physical. Somebody come at you, you do what you got to do to protect yourself. That's nothing. But mentally, like that's when you see that it's a whole another animal when you doing time. And then you start hearing people talking about, oh yeah, you know, I take medication and stuff. And I'm like, you take medication? Like what type of diabetes pills or something like that? They like, nah, psychotropic medication. I'm like. I said, yo, they probably experimenting on you, yo, and
Yeah.
but it's like it's an insane asylum, man. Like, you know, dudes trading potato chips and snacks and shit, thinking this shit is money. Like it's wild. Like, you know, dudes gambling and getting in debt, and dudes ain't got no money to pay that debt. Dudes want to, you know, rape them and shit. Like, yo, it's crazy. It's like whatever principles you think exist out here in the free cipher, I mean society, it don't exist in there, man. They play by different rules, man. And it's like, and then you got people that got natural life, so they never going home. So they definitely don't. They're not going to see how you see, you know. And it's different currents in prison. Like, you know, if you whatever you into, you can get into that. Like, you know, if you ain't into no bullshit, you ain't got to get in no bullshit, you know. But it's on you, man. And it's like, it ain't no, like, prison ain't no cakewalk. It ain't nothing to glorify. It ain't no safe place for nobody. It ain't no safe place. And you see people get hurt. You see so many people get hurt. It becomes nothing to you. It becomes nothing. And you mad because you know we going on lockdown. You might not have went to commissary. You don't even care that dude might have got killed or whatever hurt. That don't even concern you. You concerned, damn, yo, I ain't get to go to commissary. Just like our third week, we didn't even make commissary. That's like, yo, that's how it is, man. You know, you just become indifferent. And like it's like when I look at some of my old pictures of prison, I don't even recognize that person. Like, I'm like, who? I be looking at the eyes, it's nothing. Like, it's no smile, no happy, no nothing. Just stoic. And I be like, damn, that was me. Like, and it's crazy, man.
Yep.
You know, that's a fact.
So, what was it like leading up to coming home?
See, I didn't
like after doing all that time. Was you nervous? I mean, I mean, like, did you feel like, you know, this is gonna be a whole world, or did you keep up with as much as you could? You know, like,
I read that had the different New York Newsday, New York Amsterdam, but that don't do nothing to. It can't compare you for what's out here, not at all. So leading up, because like, see, I didn't know. I was like, when they called me to get my answer, by this time I made it to a dorm, like. Because it's sometimes, like, when you got a lot of numbers, you got to do a lot of time. Like, I did like 14 and a half years before I was able to come down to a level 2, and which is a dormitory, which, you know, they could have personally kept me where I was at, because by this time I had a single cell and a 13-inch TV. So I'm like, you know, fuck, I want to go to a dorm for, right? But they keep saying that to make parole, you gotta be on the lowest level that you can possibly get to. That's all that dudes was saying. So in Virginia, parole rate at one time was 2%. So that means nobody was making parole at one time. So I was a teacher's aide, and so after that, after like my work, I would go in the rec yard from like 2 to 4 and work out, you know what I mean? And when I come in, take my shower, whatever. So they calling my name on a loudspeaker. So the brother next to me said, yo, they've been calling you all day. I said, why? They know I work at the school. I got to sign out the building. I said, it can't be nothing, you know, it's important. And so I said, when he said that the council wants you, I said, it ain't nothing but a parole turn down. I get that joint. So I just kept lotioning up, going about my routine. Then when I was leaving out, my counselor wasn't there. So it was a female counselor. And so when I walked in there, she had a stack of papers. I said, in my mind, I said, damn, all these people got turned down. So she handed me my paper. So I go straight to the back because everything else is irrelevant. I go to the back. I don't see turned down for the serious nature of the crime. I'm like, yo, hold up. So I had to go all the way back to the front of the paperwork. When I looked right on top, parole release granted. I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I was like 39 and some, I just had turned like 39. So I was like, oh shit. Like, I was kind of startled. Then she looked at me. She said, yeah. She said, you leaving a lot of numbers. I left like 15 years on the door. So so she was like, yo, you don't mess it up. I said, shit, I ain't gonna see me ever again. Like, you know, so then like, but what they did was, because I actually should have came home after doing 19 years, but they put me in a re-entry program for an extra 6 months, which I didn't understand because I'm like, yo, y'all know I'm going back to New York. All y'all resources is for Virginia. They was like, no, you gotta go through this program, and it's like 5 programs that you gotta take. So, but the thing is, they moved me from one building to the go home building. So now everybody know I made parole. So it's like, so I was like, oh man. And you know, other people, you know, they looking, I can tell they kind of jail because, you know, the greetings wasn't the same no more. Like now I'm on, like, you know, I'm not gonna say I was leery, but I'm on point because I'm like, damn, I know that, yo, somebody try to step to me if I defend myself, they gonna take my parole and I probably never make parole again. So fortunately, nothing happened, you know what I mean? Other than the funny, like, you know, tell people was jail, but you know, everybody, because they figure like the time that I had and the charges that I had, like to even be considered for parole, you had to do at least 22 years at one time. And I only did 19. So it's like, so some people, they was looking at me like, yo, how he make it before us and we got more time than him. But you know, it's you gotta, sometimes it's just your time. When it's your time, it's your time. And so once I did the program, once everything, you know, they had to, like, when the interstate compact, it gotta go from whatever that state capital, you know, whatever that county to the state capital you going to the county you about to go to, and then the paperwork gotta go back. You know, good thing it was emailing now, even though I didn't know nothing about it because it didn't take that long. So
a lot of hands, man.
Yeah. And so when I finally was leaving, I already had my, like, I wanted to give away my stuff, but they got it to a, yo, whatever you got, you gotta turn it in and this and that. And I'm like, yo, so I gave away what I could and turned in what I could, you know, and then I went, when it was time to leave, man, shit, I went running down the boulevard. I couldn't wait to get the hell out of there. Like, you know, I couldn't wait. So my people, they wanted to come get me, but I was like, nah, I need to just, you know, basically relax my mind, like, you know, debrief myself. So, you know, and I took the bus. I mean, that's another thing. If you're not, they don't give you money for the bus if you're not staying in Virginia. You got to buy your own ticket or your own plane fare to get home. If you don't stay in the state, even though that you did all that time down there, and all they give you is like when you the first money you get, when you start getting money, they take money out till it's up to $25, and they put that on the hold for you. So if you don't got no other money, all you getting is a ticket if you in the state of Virginia and $25.
That should sound like a setup, really. What the fuck are you supposed to do with $25?
Yeah, but you know, they already know that. Like me, I had like 700 because I was working. I just to save my money. So when I came home, like my people came and got me from Port Authority, and like all those bright lights and this and that. Like, cause when you in prison, you see the same thing It's monotone. Everybody got the same thing on. You walk in the same yard. It's like, that's why when violence happens, people get excited because it breaks the monotony of the ordinary that goes on every day. So
So what was it
huh?
like getting on that bus and that bus ride? Like, even buying the ticket, was it natural, or did you still
Yeah,
like,
nah, that all that was the same. Once I got on the bus, it was because I had my crown on with the tassel. So when I got on the bus, it was a young dude from Turkey. Um, he you know, I guess he thought I was a Muslim and he wanted to come on that big bus. He wanted to come back there and like, you know, I guess he felt, you know, be comfortable. I said, all right, come on, boom. So he had a phone. So I said, yo, let me use your phone. I got my phone book. I said, let me use your phone if I can make these phone calls and stuff like that. So he had a flip phone, a small flip phone. So I didn't know how to like go up and down on the numbers. But so I'm like, you know, so I called a few people because nobody knew I was coming home but my family. So I called a few people like, yo, keep it, you know, keep it on the low, but I'll be up there tonight. And you know, it was a good ride, you know what I mean? Like I had a chance to just relax, see the scenery, you know, and just get my mind right because I know that, you know, I'm going back to a place I ain't been almost 20 years and got to reestablish myself who I am now, not who I used to be.
Yep, yep. So what was that like? Was it a good little transition, or I mean, was this, I mean, the
When
same
you
old?
when you solid, man, you're gonna always be solid, and people gonna respect you for being solid.
But is
So,
these next generation cats that don't know? That's what I'm
but
talking
you
about.
know, it's all good. Like the first job I had, one of my friends that I knew since I was like, I met him in 6th grade. You know what I mean? He heard I was home. He was an account manager for a cleaning service, and he heard, like, he called me. He said, "Yo, you looking for a job?" I said, "Yeah, but I don't really know how to, like, I didn't know about no Indeed and stuff. I didn't really know how to navigate some of that stuff at the time." And he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna call you back in 5 minutes." Called me right back in 5 minutes. He said, "Yo, take your social security card and I think something in your ID. Go down to this office. It was on 33rd Street in Manhattan. Yo, they're gonna give you a job." So that's how I got my first job.
That's the fucking hookup right there, yo.
Yeah, and after that, I just started learning to navigate. Like, you know, like I didn't have to buy clothes. I came home. My mom was like, "Yo, come on." She took me shopping to one of the outlets. My other man that did time before, he was down in the A. He sent me a box up of all dress stuff, overcoat, Banana Republic dress shirts, all type of stuff. So he said, because this is, you're gonna need this stuff right here. So I'm like, okay, so I don't got to worry about clothing. I don't got to worry about food. I didn't have to worry about a phone because my mother, she gave me I think a Samsung with the Windows OS, and that was wild because I never saw a smartphone. I'm like, I said I was thinking I was gonna get a beeper, like, you know what I mean. So she gave me a smartphone. I'm like, yo, what is this? I don't even know what this look like. A blue wafer. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? She's like, you supposed to just a phone. I said, there's no buttons on it. How am I supposed to use it? So she showed me how to use it. So I called my man. He came and got me. We went to Ruby Tuesday. Ruby Tuesday wasn't even out there. You know what I mean? Not before. So we went and chopped it up. You know, had a first drink. I think I had I don't know. They had some vegetarian. I ain't a vegetarian, but I just wanted to try. They had some type of vegetarian black bean burger.
Yo,
So let me get
good.
that. Like, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, but just then after that, like, you know, it's like just navigating. So I took the money that I had because I paroled to Queens where my mom was at, and there was a micro center down the block from my house. So I went down there, got me a laptop. I didn't really know nothing about specs and all of that type of stuff. I could have got a better laptop than that, but I didn't know at the time. And it was functional for what I needed to do. You can go on the internet, I can type, and I can do my research. And that's what I did. Like, you know, and I just started, you know, I started researching. First I had to type up, because my first book, I had it in pencil. So I had to type it up. And you know, then I started, you know, trying to find out how can I, you know, put this book out, agents and stuff like that. But once I started saying, I'm like, yo, I'm God, man. Can't these no motherfuckers can't validate me, man. I validate myself. So then I started like switching it up and started looking at self-publishing, which it was a lot of people that was saying they were self-publishing, but they was vanity houses. They wanted you to give them anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 to publish your book. I'm like, if I got that type of money, I don't need you to publish my book. So I had to learn how to do it truly independent. And it, you know, it took some time because, like I said, I'm not just learning about trying to publish something. I'm still learning how to navigate through the internet. So it's like, you know, I would be up for hours sometimes, and my mother sometimes would sneak up on me in the room, be like, I might be knocked out at the laptop. She was like, yo, you gotta rest. I was like, no, I rested for all that time. Like, I'm out here now. It's go time. So, you know, and then it's like the regular struggles with jobs, and I think I did a construction for a few weeks, and they thought I was expendable. I felt like I wasn't expendable, so I was like, let me go back to school, man. What I want to go, you know, and I'm looking at what do I want to go back to school for. I said, you know, technology seemed to be hitting. So I first I went to BMTC, you know, got me an associate's degree. Then I went to City Tech, got me a bachelor's degree. So it was like, you know, so I'm pretty like where I was when I came home, where I am now. It's vast. It's a vast improvement. You know, yeah.
Like, damn, that's what's up, man. And that's what the people need to hear, that, you know, just because you got locked up or you've been through something like this, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, you get what you put out there. You know what I'm saying? You can put out that hard work, you're gonna come out winning. If you're just gonna sit down and just, you know, oh, woe is me, you ain't gonna get nowhere.
No, but
and
see,
I salute that, man. You came out running.
See, one thing people, nobody don't care what you say. They want to see what you can do. It's like, that's what we say, show and prove. So it's like, but it's gotta be in your heart what you try to do. Cause it's like, if you're not into certain things, you're not gonna be successful. And successful is how you measure successful. Some people might measure successful by monetary value, or some people might measure successful by the level of integrity that they do something with. So however you see your success, and but you gotta love what you do. So it's like, when I love writing. You know, it don't pay no bills, but it has opened up doors. So, you know, and I looked at it like that from that perspective. Even going back to school, I don't work in the technology field. I'm actually right now reentry coordinator for a nonprofit. So, but you know, like I said, you sometimes you got to go where you need it, and that's just the reality.
That's what's up, man. I mean, I definitely commend it, man. I commend it. I commend the whole story. I commend, you know, that you came out and you actually made a difference. And you wasn't gonna sit there and just, woe is me. And you did it. Like, I salute it for real. Man.
I appreciate that.
Like, they definitely need to hear this.
Yeah.
So tell them about your book, where, you know, any social media, any project you're working on, anything you want to plug.
Every social media is my name. Even my LinkedIn page, everything is my name. YouTube.
You might want to spell it out.
Mallahdivine, Mallahdivine, Mallah. So, and as far as the books, my books is available in both forms, ebook and in print. They on Amazon, they in Barnes and Noble, so they're accessible. The first book, if people want to read that book, I advise them to get that book soon, because it's about to be discontinued, because I'm revising and re-editing it, because I know way more now than what I did when I put that book out. And I see it. I made a lot of mistakes, but it wasn't technically me, because I did pay somebody to edit the book, and they did a terrible job. So
I like this right there.
Yeah, yeah. Because once I discontinue it, that book ain't coming. I'm gonna put a new cover on it, everything. Like so. So if people want that first book, The Hidden Hand Duality of Self, go get it now while it's still available, because it's about to not to be shortly.
That's what's up. And I'm definitely gonna pin everything in the description so they can check you out, get in contact with you if needed. Again, we
Yeah,
definitely
you can also go to my website, Mallahdivine too.
yeah,
So if people,
just send me everything that you want me to plug. I'll drop it all in the description. I can put a big chunk of stuff.
Yeah.
all right, thanks. I
And,
got you.
like I said, we definitely appreciate you coming on. We would love to have you back on again. Maine, before
Yeah. Yeah.
man.
So this is my part of the show. This particular interview, I was just kind of listening. Sometimes, even when you get of age, right? Sometimes you still need to just fall back and just listen to people sometimes. So that's why I was just listening to you build. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you. And I hope the viewers appreciate it too, because some of our viewers got short, they don't like to watch a lot of videos for a long period of time. So hopefully, they watch it all the way through to get the message. But, if you had a message for that viewer right now, what would that message be to that viewer? You can help just one viewer.
No matter how rough it get, don't give up, because you don't know when it's going to turn around for you. Don't give up.
That's what's up, man. Again, like I said, I appreciate you coming on, man. You stay safe out there. We definitely want to have you on. We're gonna do an open forum where we bringing people back. It's gonna be like probably 10 people on there. Just open forum. Before we go, a lot of the people that we speak with, they feel like due to the incarceration, they've developed PTSD. Is that something that you kind of deal with, or is that something?
It's yes. I'm an avid believer in people going to. I just started going to therapy myself, like maybe 5-6 weeks ago. I should have went when I first came home, and I feel like some of the stuff that I went through, with the PDS, and as well as even going through a little depression. Like I wound up losing my fiance, because I got a baby. I was engaged and all that, and you don't know when something going to hit you. You don't know when something going to trigger. And I for a minute I spun out of control. Like what I mean. What I feel is out of control, because I pride myself on being a very, very disciplined person. So once then, one of my good friends, he killed himself for my daughter's birthday. He did like 26 years. He was like maybe a week shy from being home for 2 years, and like that made me start looking at things a little bit different. I'm like, I just talked to this brother 5 days ago, and he never never once like, yo, I'm struggling, G, and because I'm like, this is a man's man. This is a stand-up dude. Like this ain't no dude you gotta look for when it's time to go down. He's front line soldier type cat. So to hear that, that he was going through so much pain and disappointment in his life, that he felt like, that was his only way out. And it made me like get back, because like I said, I am a proponent of mental health advocacy. Like I definitely understand the need for it, and especially for brothers coming home. I don't know what type of time you did, but if you did a long stretch, you definitely need to need somebody that's a third party, that's objective, and we people of color, I like to deal with people of color, because I can't see myself going in there just talking to somebody of a pale face, you know what I mean, persuasion, because I know that you don't understand. And it's kind of ironic. My therapist, we got two things in common. Like we both went to the same middle school, well years apart, and we both from Bushwick. Like
That's a connection. It's a little bit
Yeah.
easy.
huh? You see what I'm
It was in the
saying?
stars.
Yeah.
This is why we want to have this open forum, this open discussion, because there's a lot of people that's going through it that's afraid to discuss it with their peoples, because they think they gonna be seen as weak, or you know what I'm saying, soft or whatever, you know what I'm saying, they get picked on over it and shit. Like, so
You go, I can understand that because I felt inside my soul when that certain shit was happening. Like, I was feeling like, yo, what the fuck? This some weak shit. Like you said, I'm in my own mind. I'm saying to myself, like, yo, yo, you don't carry it like this. But sometimes things is out of your control, man. Sometimes, like, yo, you gotta readjust. Like, we'll go get a physical quick, you know, get everything we need to check, but we won't do a mental wellness check in. And I think that that's the elephant in the room with people of color. We don't talk about that shit. We just started going to the doctor. Like my people's, they wasn't into really going to the doctor, you know what I mean? And so it's like we making progress, but we definitely got to make more progress on a mental health front.
that's definitely something that's unspoken. We definitely gonna have to have you back, man. There's a lot more we could definitely touch on. Shit, yeah, but like,
Definitely.
We appreciate you coming on, man. Stay safe and you know, stay in contact, man.
Likewise. Peace.
Send me that information so I can put it in the description. All right.
I got you.
All right, man.
One.
They only knew.
If they only knew.
All right, man.